Welcome back to Inspired Forward, everyone. I'm Dan Trinidad. You know, every so often you meet someone and their story and their personality truly inspire you. And our guest today, Andre Munar, did that to me about a month and a half ago while we both attended an Amplify workshop in Fort Worth, Texas. I mean, it was a true pleasure meeting Andre and getting to know him a bit. I mean, you spend 2.5 days in closed quarters with a group of people. And by the end of the event, you really get to know someone. He's a top 1% buyer in the country. He's been honored as a top originator, 50 most connected mortgage professionals, foremost under 40. He recently moved to San Juan, Puerto Rico, where he works remotely. And I'm really excited to hear about how he accomplishes that. Welcome, Andre.
Thank you for that introduction, Dan. It was certainly a pleasure getting to meet you as well. So I'm excited to chat with you.
Great. Well, for the benefit of the listeners, maybe you could share a little bit of how you ended up in this crazy industry and how you ended up in Puerto Rico, and what you're doing now, and what your plans are in the industry in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So it started in 2006. I was dating somebody who was in the real estate industry. And at that time, a position had opened up with their friend at a mortgage firm. And at the time, I was in the hotel restaurant industry, which I absolutely loved because the hotel restaurant business is crazy, right? It's just always go, go, go. And it's always people pleasing. And so I thought, sure, why not give this a shot? And in 2006, in the spring of 2006, I started as an assistant to somebody at a mortgage broker shop. Very quickly, literally within the first week, I absolutely just fell in love. The phone was ringing. This was a good time in the industry back then. I mean, the phone was going off the hook. This is where you were waiting for faxes for your final approval. So our fax machine was going crazy. Our board was full, programs available out the wazoo. So it was a good time. And I just fell in love with the industry right away. My partner at the time was a real estate agent and was doing well. And I decided I did not any longer want to become an assistant. I wanted to be the forefront of that sales part of it. So a few months later.
How long did that take you to decide that I want to do this for myself?
It was probably about 3 months.
Wow.
Back then, it wasn't, you didn't have to go through licensing. You could almost throw any loan up against the wall and it would kind of stick. I mean, we laugh about it now, especially us, like yourself, who have been in the industry for a while, and we joke, if you were breathing, you got a loan back then, right. So I naturally just really wanted to be that forefront person. I caught on very quickly because I just liked it. And I feel like when you like something, or when there's an attraction to something, you want more of it and you want to learn. So, about 3 months in, I told the owner, I said, hey, I want to go off on my own. Unfortunately, the owner wasn't very happy about that because the business that my partner was giving him is business that now he was going to lose. So I ended up going to another mortgage shop. And that's kind of how it all started. And for a few years, I'd say about, the first three to 4 years, I did okay. I was in my young 20s. I was making $45,000, $50,000. But I was really sitting behind a desk a lot. I was waiting for the phone to ring. I was waiting for my then partner to just hand me business. I didn't really have somebody who would coach me and lead me and tell me, get me to understand that I was forming a career, not a job, and also get me to understand that I was forming a business long-term wise. So sometime in about in 2009 was, when the whole crash happened, and I was actually on vacation with my family in Miami in December of 2009, and my then company had called to inform me, to let me know that I should go ahead and file for unemployment. They were shutting their doors. And that's kind of when the wheel started turning. I started realizing, the market is turning. What am I going to do with myself? There's got to be more out there. And I started just calling real estate shops. I started saying, hey, because I love the business. Like, I really did love the business. I'm super grateful. I just feel blessed that I have found something that I love. So I started calling real estate companies and asking them if I could do presentations to show their agents what I could do for them. Back then, single property websites were like just coming out. So I got big into understanding how they worked and how real estate agents could create their own website and what they could do for their sellers. So that was kind of my angle of getting into real estate companies was, hey, let me call these real estate companies and show them what technology is doing instead of just being, as people say, a rate sheet or dropping off donuts. And slowly I got my foot in the door, and one real estate agent would use me, and then they would pass me on to other real estate agents. And then probably in about 2010, 2011, that's really when my business started to take off.
Wow. So, I mean, you're such an unbelievable people person. So I would think, getting in the door and meeting people and getting the opportunity to teach, a group of real estate agents was probably, pretty easy for you, I would think. But, did you experience any type of rejection?
Yeah, for sure. Real estate agents are tough, especially brokers. There's always that gatekeeper. And it's funny that you say that, because I feel like most people who you see from the outside, like myself, if you look at my social media, you think I'm a complete extrovert. You think that I love hanging out with people. I love being a social butterfly. And that is true to an extent, but I'm actually a complete introvert. I don't like social settings. I don't like going out and meeting new people. If you stick me in a room with 50 people, I would rather stand in the corner by myself and just stare at everybody and people watch. Unless it's something that I'm absolutely passionate about, then I could stand in front of a room and talk to people. Or unless it's with a group of friends that I absolutely love hanging out with, like I can completely be
intimate relationships. Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah. But yeah, rejection is definitely real out there, and that became something that I learned down the road. I think one thing that's important to note, for anybody that's listening, is that no matter who you see out there, those people didn't get to where they were or where they are without doing some work. So a lot of people, I'll just put some names out there, like Tony Robbins, or just really big people. People look at them and they're like, wow, like they're amazing. And it's like, there was work that had to be done to get there. Just like myself, there was a lot of rejection. A lot of rejection, right? You've got to knock on 100 doors to get one yes.
So what gave you that, the skills or the knowledge to, stand up, get back on your feet and go after it again? What kept you going?
So my relationship had ended with that person who had got me into the real estate industry, which was fine. We were still best friends afterwards, and I still got business. But I thought to myself, there had to be more to life than just sitting behind a desk, right? Like that became boring after a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, if you want to get somewhere, you've got to do a lot of things. And so I just started, slowly plugging along. And once you start seeing the results of like, okay, like this is actually working, you kind of kick yourself in the butt. Like, why didn't I do that before?
Mm-hmm. Kind of like working out, right? Getting to the gym. It's like you go to the gym for a month and you really don't see a difference, but all of a sudden your energy level picks up. You start to see your body change a little bit, and then that fuels you to go, get after it more.
That's a great example, Dan. That's the way it works. That's totally the way it works. Absolutely.
Wow. So you got in the business in 2006. It sounds like in about 2011, you really saw the opportunity that, um, you're really building your own business. Like you can be as successful as you want, as your determination lets you. Um, but it seems like about in that time frame, you really started to get fired up about the opportunities.
Yeah. And I think that's a great point, Dan. Whatever you put your mind to, regardless of what it is, you can do. It's just you got to put in the work, and sometimes people aren't willing to do that. So in 2011 was when the whole net branch thing was kind of big.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I got an opportunity at the age of, what was I then, like 27, 28, to open up a net branch for this company that I worked for about a year or so. And then in 2012 is when I hired my first assistant, because people kept telling me, Ronald McDonald doesn't fry his own fries, does he? And I didn't understand that concept, again, because I didn't have people who were training me to
Right.
understand that, like, I was building a business and I was building a career. So in 2012, I hired my first assistant. And at the time I was only closing, 5 deals a month, but
Okay.
I was also the person doing it all. I was the person taking the application. I was the person going to closings. I was the person answering the phone. I was the person inputting everything. And at that time, I thought that I was the best person fitted for that, until I heard somebody say, hey, you should hire an assistant. And in 2012, I hired my first assistant.
Wow.
And that's when the game just changed for me.
How long did it take you to see the transition of hiring an assistant, where you start to see, okay, now I've got somebody? I mean, was the first assistant you hired, were they good? Were they able to take stuff off your plate, or was that a learning curve for you?
Um, so the first assistant, it makes me almost emotional. The first assistant I ever hired was this amazing kid. I thought he would be with me forever. I mean, we became best friends. He was incredible, like super, super good. And one of the benefits that I think that he got from me was that he was able to sit side by side with me and literally just take all of my knowledge and see everything I did, see how I did it, see how I talked. I mean, we were literally side by side. At one point in one of the years, I think it was 2013, we closed like 105 deals together, and we would work out of our car. I mean, this is when I did not realize that you could use electronic signatures. So I would meet every single client in person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We would go to every single closing. We would take phone calls in the car. But I saw that transition almost, probably within the first 3 months at least, because what happens is when you hire somebody, then you're able to go out and chase more business. And sometimes people don't realize that, or it's a hard concept for them to understand, because they think, where am I going to get X amount of dollars to pay this person?
Right.
Whatever that may be, 30, 40, 50, 60,000, whatever that amount may be, you pay your assistant. People can't look past that. Where am I going to come up with this? So one thing that somebody told me was, look at it a month at a time. So where am I going to come up with, $3,000 to pay this person? And in my head, it only became, one loan, right? So if I could
Right.
just do one more loan, and I was doing a lot less stuff, even if I kept it the same volume, he was taking a bunch of stuff off my desk for us just to do one more loan.
Right. Plus, to
And
enjoy your life a little bit more, to have some, some Andre time.
You and I think so alike, Dan, and that's later down the road, I didn't really understand that life-work balance, but that's where it led me to, is to understanding that, you know, life isn't just about work. And so yeah, but yeah, I saw the result almost immediately. Within the first 3 months, it was business picked up. People loved him, so people were now calling him instead of me, which at first I was like a little weary about, but then I became okay with it because our business just started to really grow.
Yeah, I find the challenges that loan officers have, you know, first challenge is I can't afford that $3,000 a month. But then the second challenge that is always tough to overcome is letting go of the stuff that they think they need to be doing, and trusting that it'll get done. So I'm assuming that, you know, those first 3 months, you really had to pour into this kid and let him stub his toe a little bit and you know, work in the weeds and figure it out. And at some point in time, I'm sure that when the trust blossoms is when I think it's, you know, you're able to go out and start doing what you do well, building more relationships and generating more business. So how long did did that assistant stay with you?
He was with me from 2012 until 2015.
Okay,
So
so that's a pretty good run.
yeah, it was a great run. Yeah, yeah, it was a very good run.
Now, did he go and become a loan officer? Did you teach him the skills and then have to deal with, okay, now he's going to go be an originator and compete with me? Or was it just didn't like the business or?
So actually, he started off as my assistant. The kid is incredible. I no doubt will give him all the credit for that. So in 2012, he started with me, and we weren't working for my own company. We were working for a different company. So he stuck with me through that. And then in 2014, I went off and opened my own company, and he came with me. And through it all, I mean, he was my assistant, my marketing person. He was helping me with financials. I mean, he was my right-hand man, without a doubt. Unfortunately, what happened was he became, as we grew, and by the time he left, I had about 5 people working for me. So he was at the top of the chain. He became a little complacent, and I unfortunately had to make the decision to let him go. And he did end up going to work for a competitor, and he still works for that competitor. And I'm a true believer, and this is something that is not, you don't see, at least I haven't seen it in the mortgage industry. I'm a true believer that if people leave you, like, I'm okay with that. I'm not the type of person that is gonna, you know, hold their pay or hold their bonuses, or you know, tell them that they shouldn't go somewhere. You know, if it's a loan officer or a sales team member or just an ops person, and they decide to go somewhere else, all that I can do is hope that I have been an incredible employer to them, that I've given them lessons in life and business, that I've made them a better person. And if they go somewhere else, it's because there's something that I'm not providing, and that's okay. So I did let him go, and he does still work for one of my competitors, and that's okay.
How long did it take you to get a new one?
About 2 weeks.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
You must be good at
it. No, about 2 weeks. And that kid that is with me, he's been with me now for 4 years. And he is now at the top of our food chain. And I've been very lucky and blessed that he's worked out as well too. He's just an incredible asset as well.
That's so great. Now, so when in all this did you decide, I'm going to relocate to Puerto Rico and, you know, live in a place that I love while still making a living in the States, you know, in the mainland?
So I had a partner, as in a life partner, for about 4 years, and we came to Puerto Rico. We We absolutely fell in love with it. And so we ended up coming back here about like 10 times. And
As a vacation, as visiting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We came back on vacation at least 10 times. And it ended up being our goal that we wanted to have kids and we wanted to move to Puerto Rico. Unfortunately, that plan did not work out, but I still loved Puerto Rico a ton. And somewhere along the line of opening up a business and where I'm at now, I ended up finding a business partner who is just incredible.
She's great.
She is. She's a total blessing. We're a total fit. Ended up finding a business partner. We grew our business. I mean, we've got 20 employees, 4 offices. Like, life is good. And like you said, Dan, the mortgage industry for me one day started off as how much money can I make? How many loans can I close? And then when I hired that kid at $10 an hour. And then, I mean, he ended up at like 45 grand a year, which in the area that I live in is a decent amount.
Yeah.
And I started realizing that it was not about money anymore. It kind of gets me emotional because I started realizing that life is about what are the memories that I can have? What are the experiences that I can create? How can I work less? How can I do more for people? How can I empower people to be who they want to be? How can I empower people to get where they want in life? How can I get people to understand mindset? How can I get people to understand that where they're at right now is not where they have to end up at?
It sounds like you discovered your why. I mean, doing that process, like, you know, you want to inspire and help people, you know, believe in themselves and go after what they want to do. And you learn that through your own journey. I mean, you're young, so it's amazing that because I talk to so many successful, high producing loan officers that are still stuck in that grind. And that's the thing that, quite frankly, we learn through our journey. And I was like that at one point in time too, until all of a sudden you realize that, you know, time goes by pretty fast. I mean, life is long, I always say, but it goes by very, very quickly. And, you end up one day thinking, where did those 15 years go? And how did I get out of shape? And I went through these divorces, or my kids don't know me, or I didn't see the world. I didn't go after my dreams. And really that's kind of my message now, is trying to get people to, you know, step out of their comfort zone, understand that it's okay to have a goal to make a lot of money. And ideally, if it's connected to your purpose, but to get sucked into, and it's normal at your age when you're in your 20s, you know, and you're looking for, you know, a direction in your career, you'll jump at an opportunity to make more money, right? But at some point in time, which fortunately you did pretty early, realize there's got to be more. So, man, that's so awesome, Andre. I love hearing that. So how many people do you have now in Puerto Rico? Is it just you?
Yeah, so it's just me right now. We're working on licensing for here. I'm working remotely. Like I said, I've been very blessed and very fortunate with an amazing business partner and a great team. In 2014 is the same year that I hired a coach. It was the first time that I had ever hired a coach to get me to understand processes and systems and flows and mindset and all of that, because I mean, when you run a business, it's not
just originating alone, right?
Yeah, it's not just originate. I mean, I was then, you know, the cleanup crew, I was the IT crew, I was the, you know, everything. And so in 2014, I hired a coach, and they helped me understand, you know, how to build a business. And so for many years, I started being able to do that, to the point where I took my cell phone off of all my marketing material. I was no longer taking applications. It was just my face. the only thing that I was really doing was meeting with real estate agents and making sure that we were always ahead of the curve with technology and customer service and all of that. I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Well, it was just more
How many people did I have?
of a discussion of your team location.
Yeah. So that's so for the past few years, I've really been fortunate that I have a team and I've got a following of real estate agents and referral partners and past clients who all they know is the office number and our website. So I'm able to work remotely without anybody knowing that I'm here per se.
They do know that you're there though, don't they? Maybe I shouldn't have said anything.
No, eventually people will know. I haven't been around. I haven't been to any, events or meetings or coffee appointments or anything like that. But
Dude, that's so cool. That is so cool. Where is your assistant located now?
Well, right now I have 3 loan partners, and they're in Harrisburg and State College, Pennsylvania. But yeah.
Wow. And how often do you get to go visit them and connect with them and meet with your real estate agents? Do you make those trips, or is it all Zoom or telephone?
So as of right now, I haven't gone back at all. I am going back in November for a few weeks, and I will meet with some agents and do some coffee appointments and stuff like that. And then we're going to do a company team bonding event. So, I'll get to hang out with my team and stuff, and then I'm bringing back an employee who I had last year. We're going to bring her back, and she's going to be what I call our director of sales. So she's going to be the person who's going to meet with all my real estate agents, make sure that they're, super taken care of. She's going to make sure that we're putting on realtor appreciation events. But the way that I kind of stay in front of everybody is, my team is taught to always say my name. So my team is always taught to say, Andre asked me to send you this. Andre asked me to do this for you. Andre said this. And so, people just think that, I'm still kind of there.
Man, I don't know if you realize how amazing that is. You know how many people, in their fantasy or in their dream world would love to be living, in a location that they love and still earning a living and impacting so many people the way you do. I ask this question. What advice would you give someone who wants to do something similar, like relocate his family or go live in California? People are trying to get out of the Bay Area. How would you advise somebody to leave the Bay Area, but not necessarily walk away from, their career that they work so hard on? You have any great tips?
I would say just do it. So literally, I came to San Juan in the spring, this spring, and I met somebody. We became great friends. We stayed connected. And then summertime came, and this friend was like, hey, you should just move down here. And I thought to myself, absolutely not. My business is here in Pennsylvania. My family's here in Pennsylvania. Everything I know is here in Pennsylvania. Like, it's just not a possibility. And a few nights later, I just woke up and I was like, I don't understand why not. Like, why am I not doing this? And I literally put my house up for rent. I put my car for rent. And 3 weeks later, I was
3 weeks.
I was out. Yeah. Because I felt like if I didn't do it, I was never going to do it.
Yeah.
And literally that's the only advice I have, to be honest.
Did you go through what's the worst thing that could happen analysis?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I told my parents, and my parents were, at first they were a little freaked out, but then they were totally supportive, because I started talking to I started in my head, I started thinking about, if if I don't do this, I'm going to regret it. What's the worst that could happen? It's only a year lease to start off with. I can always fly back right away if there's an emergency. I can always just go back, period, if I have to for some reason. So I definitely thought about like, what's the worst case, but the easiest way was just to do it. And I now have a newfound respect for people who relocate their families. It can be a little tough at first, meeting new friends, meeting new people, but at the same time, it's one of the reasons that I came was to get out of my comfort zone, to learn more about myself, to figure myself out a little more, to, you know, appreciate all of the things that I do have in the States. You know, so it's been great.
Oh my God, you are such an inspiration, and you know I've told you this before, man. You got to get out and tell your story, and you got to. I mean, this is part of it. I know that there's a lot of people that want to be actually living somewhere else, but they're afraid to walk away from what they've got. So how much business are you currently doing?
My team, my personal production team is on track. We're going to come super close to about 200 transactions.
Whoa. And you're living in Puerto Rico.
And living in Puerto Rico. Yeah. Yeah.
Holy cow. That is so awesome, man. Kind of next on my list, and then we'll be, you know, calling it a day. But I noticed on one of your Facebook posts, you posted a picture of your back, and from training, and the change in your body, man, and that just inspired me to get like back at it as well. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, okay, it's time for me to get in shape. So thank you for that. How often are you hitting the gym?
Dan, super quick story. That's like the same way as the mortgage thing. So I've been working out for like 2 years, right? And but I wasn't eating healthy. Like I was just, because I'm a skinny guy, so I thought that just making sure I was eating, whether it was McDonald's or pizza, like whatever, would help. But it's been since I moved to Puerto Rico that I started eating healthy, as far as making sure I'm eating like 3 small meals a day, taking 1 to 2 protein shakes, eating, you know, a snack twice a day, that I saw changes. And now I'm going, why didn't I do that 2 years ago? Right? Like I've been working out for 2 years, hoping to get results. And I've got decent results, but now that, you know, I started doing the things that people told me to do, like eating healthy in addition to working out, I've seen results. But I usually hit the gym like 4 to 5 times a week.
Wow. Do you are you tracking your intake, what you eat? Do you track the calories at all, or are you just eating trying to eat as clean as you can?
I'm just trying to eat as clean as I can for now.
Wow. That's so awesome. That's so
Yeah.
awesome. Andre, how can people get a hold of you? Because I have the feeling that people are going to want to hear a little bit about, you know, a little more about the how-tos. Maybe you have some people wanting to move to Puerto Rico and open a branch with you. How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm always happy to answer questions, or you can look me up. You can find me on our website, which is KeystoneAllianceMortgage.com. You can find me on Facebook. It's Andre J. Munar. Instagram, my handle is Mr. Munar. And then I'm always welcome to taking phone calls or text messages, and you can reach me at 814-308-3276.
Andre, thank you so much. And I know we didn't get into it on this interview at all, but you know, Andre's been, you know, a broker, a banker, a net branch, and so if you have any questions out there of the pluses and minuses, and you know, each of those components of our industry, he'd probably be a really good guy to talk to. In fact, I'm going to be talking to him, you know, offline a little more about that as well. Andre, thank you so much for your time today. It was really a treat to talk to you again, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you so much for having me, Dan. It was great seeing you again.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.